Om Shri Krishnaya Namah, Om Shri Raghavendra Namah. Continuing from our previous edition, where the last point we touched upon was to avoid hurting the feelings of others, which we said is a natural fallout from the main points that we have been looking at and we have seen. Once you accept the Lord's supremacy and you fully are devoted and surrendered to Him, then everything falls into place and you'll be far from any egoism or any amount of proudness. So, when we talk about think about others, act softly, be selfless, polite and kind as the next point that comes up. The next point is, don't be proud, be away from egoism. Shri Guru Swami Raghavendra in his entire lifetime, whether as a child or as a student or a grihastha or subsequently as a sannyasi and then as a matha adhikari, as a pithadipati, as a guru, as a swamigalu, hardly had, in fact never had any kind of feeling of egoism or sense of egoism, and along with it, he was never ever proud. It is a wonder in today's world to come across such persons. In fact, they can be counted on the tips of one's fingers. To illustrate and give an example from Sri Guru Raghavendra Swamy's life itself, many were the beneficiaries of his prayers and pleas to the Almighty, to Lord Sri Krishna and Rama, for granting of favors and boons to those who came seeking his intervention with the divine. And all those who came and sought his intervention went away with the pride that their Guru had helped them and enabled them. One such example is when, during his many tours, he happened to visit the house of the Zamindar by name Desai, and stayed at his house and performed the Mula Ramadev Puja in his place. A grand feast was arranged. It was a summer season, scorching heat, mangoes were in plenty, and mango juice was prepared. The Desai's young son, a mischievous boy, went into the kitchen and peeped into one of the drums which contained the mango juice. Unfortunately, as luck would have it, he peeped a little too much, lost his balance and fell and drowned in the drum of mango juice. When the mother came searching for the boy, after much amount of searching, they found him in the drum containing the mango juice, lifted him out, and by that time, the boy's breath had almost stopped. He was not responding at all. So, with great tears in his eyes and fearing the wrath of the divine and the Guru, the Desai sent word that he would not be able to come anymore for the pujas and that Guru Raghavendra Swamy should not take it amiss. The word was conveyed accordingly, and much to the Desai's surprise, Guru Raghavendra Swamy insisted that the Desai should come forward and partake of the tirtha immediately after the puja. With great reluctance they came forward, and the Desai informed him with tears shed flowing copiously down his face. Swami, this is what has happened. My only son is no more. He fell into the drum of mango juice that was prepared for your feast. Guru Raghavendra Swamy very humbly, very smilingly said, no, bring the boy here. Let us see what it is. The boy was brought and laid down in front of Guru Raghavendra Swamy, who then took a little of the sanctified water and sprinkled it on him. At the same time, called upon Sri Rama, invoked him and said, I have come here to do your puja in this man's house. You have been kind enough for this puja to happen in this man's house. How can these people be happy when their only son is no more with them? At that time, divine intervention played its part, and immediately after sprinkling of the sanctified water on the boy got up and sat up, rubbing his eyes, and called out to his mother and father, who in sheer ecstaticness and joy beyond measure went and hugged the boy and prostrated before Guru Raghavendra Swamy, saying, Gurugale, this is all your work, this is all your blessings. Please forgive us if they have made any mistakes. Guru Raghavendra Swamy, in his normal, usual, humble self, very softly said, no, it is not mine. It is all the divine intervention. It is Sri Rama's work. He has come to your house. His puja has been done. How can anything amiss happen or anything inauspicious happen? Thank him for everything, not me. Such was his kindness. Such was his selflessness. Such was his politeness. Compare that with today's people in the world and see the amount of the difference, the vast ocean that is there. For any little thing that has occurred, people are quick to race forward and take ownership of the credit that can be available to them. It is indeed a shame. We need to learn from such people who have been living examples for us in society. The next point is, that's point number 12. Think about others, act softly, be selfless, polite and kind. How many people are really like this? Polite, kind, selfless, always acting softly in favor or in interest of others. Very few. Again, to go back to Sri Guru Raghavendra Swamy and quote an example from his own life. This is at the very beginning of his life, when he had just entered the ashrama as a new student, Guru Sudhindra's ashram as a student. It is said that one night the Guru was busy writing his notes, and suddenly the oil lamp that was before him, providing him little light, got blown out. It got extinguished. So the Guru called out if anybody was available to come and assist him in fetching a lamp. Whilst most of the boys were sleeping, Guru Raghavendra Swamy, in his Purva Ashrama days before his sannyasa was known as Venkatnatha, he heard this call of the Guru, got up from his bed, went, took a lit lamp and stood next to the Guru with the lit lamp in his palm, lowered enough to enable the Guru to continue his writing. The Guru, without looking at who had come and thinking it to one of the students from the dormitory, continued his work. And at the end of it, when he looked up, he said in amazement, "You have come. I said to put it down, but you did not. You are holding the lamp in your hand. Your hand will burn. It must have already got heated and burnt, isn't it?" At this moment, Guru Raghavendra Swamy, who was earlier known as Venkatnatha, merely humbly placed the lamp on the floor next to the Guru, prostrated before him, offered his salutations, and receded to his chamber, to his dormitory, to be asleep so that the next day he could rise and continue with his work. This small example shows how he, even in his Purva Ashrama days, used to think about others first, act softly and quietly, be selfless in his action, and be polite and kind. One does not have to merely speak softly, but even in silence one can be polite and kind with others. With this, the next point that comes naturally is, which Guru Raghavendra Swamy said, have repentance, and a feeling of repentance one should have whenever one does any mistake. Unfortunately, in today's world, we are left with a choice of 4 or 5 beautiful words which sound very sweet but hardly have an impact or hardly convey the depth of repentance. And if I were to be asked to name those words, the words would be sorry, please, excuse me, thank you. And with these words, we get away with even sometimes anything short less than murder. The most heinous crimes can go away. You want to edge your way past some others in the crowd, all that you need to do is say sorry, excuse me, and you are out. You want somebody to assist you or you want somebody to move away, all you need to do is say excuse me and move forward. You happen to edge into somebody or budge into somebody or bump into somebody, oh, I'm so sorry. And it's okay. It's all forgiven. How many of you have noticed that when at a meeting or at a conference and there is a tea break announced and people are sitting and sipping and standing and sipping their tea from the tea cup, suddenly somebody bumps into somebody else accidentally and then the tea cup goes all over the person's shirt. And the person just says, I'm so sorry. And that sorry is supposed to take care of everything, including the dry cleaning charges. How is a man going to sit in the conference or the meeting or in the seminar thereafter? It's a mistake, it has happened, yes. We are human beings, we commit mistakes. We will commit mistakes. Does that mean that we should get away without being answerable or without being of repentance towards what we have done? In fact, the best way to feel repentance or to have or be drawn with repentance is not just by apologizing there itself and saying sorry, but actually going a mile further and offering to the person something that would cover up for what one has done in error. It could be an act of omission or commission. It could be an act of error. But that is also missing. People don't even offer that. They just use the words, as I said earlier, sorry, excuse me, please, thank you, and get away with things. The feeling of repentance is hardly there in people today. One must cultivate it. In fact, all these things come from childhood. But this is all sadly missing, unfortunately, in today's world. The next point is, we are all the servants of Sri Hari. He is the Supreme. He is the Creator. He is the one who has laid out this beautiful universe, this beautiful cosmos. And we act and perform, do, interact, discharge, deliver, all on His basis. In fact, even this, to be very honest and very humble about this whole thing, even this interaction with you across this medium today is thanks to Him. As they say in Kannada, or ಪ್ರೇರಣೆಯಿಂದ ಆಗಿದ್ದೆ, ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ನಮ್ಮದು ಏನಿಲ್ಲ. So, all that we perform, all that we do, all the acts, all of them are done by us. We must realize this. We must accept this. We are all doing this as His servants. We are not the masters of all that we do. We may seem to have that, but that comes from a feeling of ego and pride, which should be avoided. For remember, ahankara inda durankara. So the moment you are there, you lose sense of everything, and you will only go to downfall and destruction of yourself. So it is better to place yourself, recognize and place yourself, understand and accept as a servant of Sri Hari, Sri Krishna, and let His supremacy rule over us in such a way that He enjoys coming and being our slave and getting us what He knows is best for us in our life, in our interest. Point number 15. Always speak the truth. People turn around and say it's very difficult to speak the truth, no? How can one speak the truth? Always. If one is put in an uncomfortable situation, how do you speak the truth? The answer is very simple. It is better for you to speak the truth at that moment of time and let the person shed a tear rather than to speak lies and later on the person realizes and live a lifelong of regret and sorrow and unending tears at that time. So, in speaking the truth, you are lighter, you feel lighter, you will be lighter. You don't carry any baggage with you. You don't have a guilt conscience on you. You are so light that you can go about your normal work without feeling or thinking about what do you have to say next time somebody comes and asks you a question in relation to what happened. What kind of story do you have to cook up for that? What kind of excuse do you have to put forward this time? You don't have to remember all that. Because having said the truth, the matter is closed. It's over. There's nothing more after it. Take it or leave it, that's the truth. That's being bare honest. We had mentioned about this earlier, if you recall, in the very first edition we had said a coach needs to be honest with himself and with his coachee. So if I am honest in myself, my own conscience will not allow me to be dishonest with you. How can I be dishonest with you? My conscience will not let me be still. It will not let me sleep in peace. It will not let me do anything further in peace. It will keep chiding me, it will keep reminding me, it will keep telling me, you spoke a lie at that time, cover it up. Go back and tell the truth. Or at the next opportunity, call the person, tell the person the truth. You will be uncomfortable. So avoid that. Always speak the truth. Point number 16. Universal affection and love for fellow creatures one should have in his life. This kind of affection, universal affection and love for fellow creatures. We're not saying fellow human beings, we're saying fellow creatures. We're all God's creatures. The bird flying in the sky, the crow who comes and caws at your door in the morning on your compound wall, sitting on your compound wall on your balcony. The dogs who bark in the night should some stranger approach the locality. Or for that matter, the cow who passes by on the road or lazily lies in the middle of the road, thereby slowing down traffic. We are all God's creatures. The affection, the love that we should have is the affection and love that we have and show for another human being of our own kith and kin. When you develop that affection, when you develop that love, when you develop that feeling in yourself, it is a state of bliss that you have reached. The next point is respect and regard the elders. Stotamaru, Swatotamaru. In today's society, if you look at the kind of interaction that is taking place, can you see any respect for the elders from the younger generation? At least I can't. Let me be very honest with you. A junior does not hesitate to stand and smoke in front of his senior. A junior does not hesitate to call the senior by him on his first name basis. In fact, let me put it this way. A junior has no qualms in calling his senior colleague on a first name basis. And the senior, knowing that he can't do anything and he has to keep up with the times, hey, it's no problem, you can call me by my name. The respect is not there. Where will regard come from? You used to write only at the end of the letter, regards. Even that has gone today. What one sees sometimes at the end of the letter is ciao, ciao, things like that. The regard that one should have, the respect that one should have for the elders is sadly missing in life. No matter who came before Guru Raghavendra Swamy in his lifetime, if he had the respect, he had the regard for the person as a human being, as a fellow being. And in case an elder came before him in age, he was gracious enough to recognize, respect and accept the elderliness of the person in terms of chronological age and interact with the person accordingly, despite being a guru. Whereas in today's society, it is not there. Even when you meet a guru outside, or you go to your elders, from a distance you'll touch the ground and put the same hand to your head and say, I have done namaskara to you. And that is to be accepted. You're doing a great favor to them by doing that. Proper prostration is very difficult. In fact, let me tell you, if you prostrate properly, that's a good exercise for your back. It is equivalent of one Surya Namaskara. The second last point. He said, though I will not be with you in person, my presence will be in my works and my Vrindavan. How true was it? how true is it even today? Physically, he is not there before us, amongst us. He still sits in the Vrindavan, Neela Vrindavan, in Mantralayam, deeply engrossed in his sadhana, in his japa, on the pranava mantra, and thanks to his yogic shakti, he continues to remain in that state. Yet his presence is felt amongst so many of his devotees who come to him with their pleas. There are people who have felt that whilst walking, somebody has tapped them on their shoulder and they turn around to see and they see there is nobody, and ultimately they say, oh, must be Guru Raghavendra Swamy itself. There are places in houses of people where the fragrance of sandalwood smell automatically, suddenly comes up when anything of his work or anything of his is being discussed, with that kind of love and affection and respect and regard, and it is his presence that is there. There are people who have been driving on the highway, survived what could have been near fatal accidents, and they have been blessed and told that it is only because of Guru Raghavendra Swamy that you have survived. So as he said, as he predicted, as he forecasted, though I will not be with you in person, my presence will be in my works and in my Vrindavan. From the Vrindavan, his energy radiates even today to all corners of the globe, wherever his bhaktas are. Take any of his books to read, including an autograph and a biography of his written by anyone. In fact, the best name that comes to mind is Mr. Joshi's biography of Raghavendra Swamy. It's more on the title of Sri Raghavendra Life and Works. They are in 2 volumes, Volume 1 and Volume 2. It's there. Even reading that, you get the strange feeling of Guru Raghavendra Swamy's warmth coming over you and he being next to you, peering over your shoulder and reading also as you read. The last point is, you can serve me best by listening to, studying, preserving and propagating my works. Om Shri Krishnaya Namah. Om Shri Raghavendra Namah.